M1 Statics, example 11a. In this example, we're looking at an object which is sitting on an inclined plane. It's a rough plane, so we know that there will be friction. And a force is being applied, this force P, which is going to be just sufficient to prevent the particle from sliding up the plane. Now, in this case, because the object is about to move up the plane, we know that the force P must be acting in that direction in order to make it inclined to move up the plane. And we know therefore that friction will be opposing that and trying to hold it back into this position. So this is the diagram that we need to be working with. We're told that sine alpha is 5 over 13. So I've drawn a little triangle up here. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So this is the opposite. This is the hypotenuse. And from your knowledge of Pythagoras, or you might just know, the third side here would work out to be 12. You can work that out using Pythagoras if you didn't already know. But 5, 12, 13 is a very famous Pythagorean triple. So we know, therefore, that cos of alpha, which we know we might need in this question, adjacent over hypotenuse, is 12 over 13. So let's start by looking perpendicular to the plane. So we can see that we have R acting upwards, and downwards we'll have 2G, and remember this angle to the vertical, between the vertical and the perpendicular, will be alpha. So it'll be 2G cos alpha. And we know cos alpha is 12 over 13, so it's 2G multiplied by 12 over 13, which works out to be 24G over 13. I'll leave that exact for the time being. If we now look along the plane, parallel to the plane, we can see that we've got the force P acting up the plane, and acting down the plane is the friction, and also 2G sine of alpha. Now, it tells us in the question the coefficient of friction is a third, and because we're in limiting equilibrium, because we're just on the point of sliding up the plane, we know that the friction will be equal to mu times r. So, mu is a third, r is 24g over 13, so that's the friction, and then we're going to add 2g, and its sine alpha is 5 over 13. So if we try and simplify that rather than just typing it in our calculator, we try and simplify it as it stands. A third of 24 is 8, so that's 8g over 13. Imagine the 3 dividing into the 24, that cancels out to give 8. And then here 2g times 5 over 13 will be 10g over 13. So if we add those together, that gives us 18g over 13. Very often the exam questions ask you to leave your answer in terms of g, so dealing with these fractions is something that you need to get used to doing while you're practicing. If you do tap it into your calculator, it rounds to 14 newtons to two significant figures.